Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is Vaibhav Shrivastava with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says from the largest vaccination drive to use of drones in agriculture, India now moving towards an innovation-led future. Addresses members of Indian community at Munich in Germany. In the 90th edition of Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister Modi exhorts Indians to never forget the dreadful period of emergency, says people of the country defeated dictatorial mindset through democratic means. Results declared for by-elections to 3 Lok Sabha and 7 Assembly constituencies. BJP rests Rampur and Azamgarh Lok Sabha seats in Uttar Pradesh, also bags 3 Assembly seats in Tripura. Prime Minister Modi terms BJP's win in Uttar Pradesh as historic, thanks Tripura for reposing faith in party's development agenda. Political turmoil in Maharashtra continues. Shiv Sena initiates legal proceedings against 16 rebel MLAs. Madhya Pradesh clinched the first ever Ranji Trophy title with 6-wicket win against Mumbai in the finals in Bengaluru. And Indian cricket team captain Rohit Sharma tests positive for COVID-19 ahead of Birmingham Test match against England. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asserted that India is witnessing a tech and digital revolution. He said from the largest vaccination drive to public procurement to use of drones in agriculture, India is now moving towards an innovation-led future. Addressing the Indian diaspora at a community event at Munich in Germany today, Mr. Modi stated that the country is making new record in data consumption, data prices and even digital transactions.
इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी में, डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी में भारत अपना परचम लहरा रहा है। दुनिया में हो रहे रियल टाइम डिजिटल पेमेंट्स में से 40% ट्रांजैक्शन भारत में हो रहे हैं। आज भारत डेटा कंजम्पशन में नए रिकॉर्ड बना रहा है। भारत उन देशों में है जहां डेटा सबसे सस्ता है.
The Prime Minister said India has shown that democracy can deliver and has delivered. Mr. Modi said today we can proudly say that India is the mother of democracy.
हम भारतीय कहीं भी रहे अपनी डेमोक्रेसी पर गर्व करते हैं और हिंदुस्तानी गर्व से कह सकता है कि भारत मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी है. लोकतंत्र का हजारों वर्षों का हमारा इतिहास आज भी भारत के कोने कोने में जीवंत है.
The Prime Minister said today is the anniversary of the dark chapter in India's history, the emergency that was imposed in 1975. The Prime Minister said it was our democratic mindset that eventually prevailed and resisted the emergency. He said we Indians are proud of our democracy.
जो डेमोक्रेसी हर भारतीय के डीएनए में है, आज से 47 साल पहले इसी समय उस डेमोक्रेसी को बंधक बनाने, डेमोक्रेसी को कुचलने का प्रयास किया गया था. आपातकाल का कालखंड भारत के वाइब्रेंट डेमोक्रेटिक इतिहास में एक काले धब्बे की तरह है, लेकिन इस काले धब्बे पर सदियों से चली आ रही लोकतांत्रिक परंपराओं की श्रेष्ठता भी पूरी शक्ति के साथ विजयी हुई.
Mr. Modi said today the new India is at the forefront of Industry 4.0. He said be it IT or digital technology, India is shining at every front. Mr. Modi said the India of the 21st century is leading the Industry 4.0 revolution.
आप सभी इस बात से परिचित हैं कि पिछली शताब्दी में तीसरी औद्योगिक क्रांति का जर्मनी और अन्य देशों ने कितना लाभ उठाया. भारत उस समय गुलाम था और इसलिए वो इस दौड़ में बहुत पीछे रह गया. लेकिन आज 21वीं सदी का भारत चौथी औद्योगिक क्रांति में इंडस्ट्री 4.0 में पीछे रहने वालों में नहीं, बल्कि इस औद्योगिक क्रांति का नेतृत्व करने वालों में से एक है.
The Prime Minister said, in India, now we have a unicorn every 10 days and 5,000 patents are being filed every month. The Prime Minister said, we are progressing and we are growing. He said during COVID-19 pandemic, India ensured free ration to 80 crore poor people. Mr. Modi said, when a country makes the right decisions at the right time and with the right intent and works towards Sabka Vikas, it is imperative that the country will grow. He said few examples of the shining new India of the 21st century are GEM portal, which has over 50 lakh sellers. 12 to 15 lakh Indians are booking 12 to 15 lakh tickets online. Drones are being used to sprinkle fertilizers, and PM Swamitva Yojana has helped in digital mapping of property in villages.
भारत में सरकार ने एक योजना शुरू की है, स्वामित्व योजना. इस योजना के तहत देश के लाखों गांवों में जमीन की मैपिंग, घरों की मैपिंग का काम ड्रोन ही कर रहे हैं. इस अभियान के द्वारा करोड़ों नागरिकों को प्रॉपर्टी सर्टिफिकेट दिए जा रहे हैं. प्राकृतिक आपदाओं के समय, राहत और बचाव के समय भी ड्रोन टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल भारत में लगातार बढ़ रहा है.
The Prime Minister said the government had put an ambitious target of 10% ethanol blending in petrol, and it was achieved 5 months before the target. He said there was a time when people said India will take 10 to 15 years to vaccinate its population against COVID-19. Mr. Modi said today 90% adults have taken both the doses and 95% adults have taken at least one dose. He said Made in India vaccines became instrumental in saving lives across the world during the pandemic. The Prime Minister said there was a time when we were completely dependent on other countries for our mobile phone demands, and today India is the second largest mobile manufacturer that exports to other countries as well. He said we have moved from just a dream of Make in India to the third largest startup ecosystem, from being an importer of mobile phones to the second largest manufacturer of mobile phones. He said as we celebrate 75 years of independence, India is now dreaming new dreams, making new goals and working towards realizing them. He said today when India is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we are setting new records of inclusiveness and aspirations. The Prime Minister said India is now no longer lamenting over global problems, and instead India is leading the charge and providing sustainable solutions to the world. Mr. Modi said today with International Solar Alliance, India has given the mantra of One Sun, One World, One Grid to the world.
आज हम इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस के जरिए दुनिया भर के देशों को एक मंच पर ला रहे हैं ताकि सस्ती और एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली एनर्जी का लाभ दुनिया को दे सके. वन सन, वन वर्ल्ड, वन ग्रिड, ये सपना हमने दुनिया के सामने रखा है.
The Prime Minister said the Indian diaspora across the world are not only India's success story, but also Rashtraduts who are taking India to the world and becoming brand ambassadors for the success of the nation.
Mr. Modi reached Munich this morning on a 2-day visit to Germany. During the visit, the Prime Minister will attend the G7 summit and participate in discussions with leaders of G7 partner countries on several issues, including climate, energy, food security, counter-terrorism, environment, health, gender equality and democracy. The Prime Minister will also hold several bilateral meetings on the sideline of the summit. He said in a tweet that he was looking forward to fruitful discussions with world leaders during the summit, which is being hosted by Germany in its capacity as the chair of the G7. It is a grouping of the world's 7 richest nations consisting of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom and the United States. On his arrival, Mr. Modi was given a ceremonial welcome by a Bavarian band upon arrival at the Munich airport. The Indian diaspora also accorded a warm welcome to the Prime Minister in Munich. He interacted with the children present among the members of the Indian community gathered to welcome him. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today exhorted Indians to never forget the dreadful period of emergency, addressing the nation in the 90th episode of his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat on All India Radio. The Prime Minister said the generations to come should never forget the mass movement during the emergency. The emergency was imposed in the month of June in 1975. Mr. Modi asserted that dreadful period of emergency, people of the country defeated dictatorial mindset through democratic means.
भारत के हम लोगों में सदियों से जो लोकतंत्र के संस्कार चले आ रहे हैं, जो लोकतांत्रिक भावना हमारी रग रग में है, आखिरकार जीत उसी की हुई। भारत के लोगों ने लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से ही इमरजेंसी को हटाकर वापस लोकतंत्र की स्थापना की। तानाशाही की मानसिकता को, तानाशाही वृत्ति प्रवृत्ति को लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से पराजित करने का ऐसा उदाहरण पूरी दुनिया में मिलना मुश्किल है।
The Prime Minister highlighted that in the past few years, many big feats related to the space sector have been accomplished in the country. One of these achievements has been the creation of an agency named InSpace.
एक ऐसी एजेंसी जो स्पेस सेक्टर में भारत के प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लिए नए अवसरों को प्रमोट कर रही है। इस शुरुआत ने हमारे देश के युवाओं को विशेष रूप से आकर्षित किया है। साथियों, ये वही युवा हैं जिनके मन में आज से कुछ साल पहले स्पेस सेक्टर की छवि किसी सीक्रेट मिशन जैसी होती थी, लेकिन देश ने स्पेस रिफॉर्म्स किए और वही युवा अब अपनी सैटेलाइट लॉन्च कर रहे हैं। जब देश का युवा आकाश छूने को तैयार है, तो फिर हमारा देश कैसे पीछे रह सकता है?
Mr. Modi took pride in the fact that the number of startups in the space sector amounts to more than 100. He exuded pride that India's youth are setting new records from startups to the sports world. Touching upon the topic of sports, the Prime Minister spoke about Olympic gold medalist Neeraj Chopra, who was in the headlines recently. Neeraj won the silver at Paavo-Nurmi Games in Finland. Neeraj once again made the country proud by winning the gold in Kuorthani Games. He said in the recently held Khelo India Youth Games as well, Indian players set many records.
अभी हाल में ही आयोजित हुए खेलो इंडिया यूथ गेम्स में भी कुल 12 रिकॉर्ड टूटे हैं। इतना ही नहीं, 11 रिकॉर्ड्स महिला खिलाड़ियों के नाम दर्ज हुए हैं। अपनी मेहनत से इन खिलाड़ियों ने बता दिया है कि आने वाले समय में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय खेलों में भारत की साख कितनी बढ़ने वाली है। मैं इन सभी खिलाड़ियों को बधाई भी देता हूं और भविष्य के लिए शुभकामनाएं भी देता हूं।
Mr. Modi mentioned that there has been another special feature of Khelo India Youth Games. He said that this time many talents have emerged from very ordinary families. He noted that in their success, their family and parents have a big role to play. Mr. Modi also discussed Mithali Raj, one of the most talented cricketers in India. She announced her retirement from cricket this month. Speaking on the topic of waste to wealth, the Prime Minister mentioned Aizawl, the capital of Mizoram, where a beautiful river, Chetaloi, was turned into a heap of dirt and garbage. The Prime Minister stated that the monsoon is continuously progressing in the country. He called it an apt time to make special efforts in the direction of water conservation.
हमारे देश में मानसून का लगातार विस्तार हो रहा है। अनेक राज्यों में बारिश बढ़ रही है। ये समय जल और जल संरक्षण की दिशा में विशेष प्रयास करने का भी है। हमारे देश में तो सदियों से ये जिम्मेदारी समाज ही मिलकर उठाता रहा है। जल संरक्षण तो वास्तव में जीवन संरक्षण है। आपने देखा होगा आजकल कितने ही नदी महोत्सव होने लगे हैं। आपके शहरों में भी इस तरह के जो भी जल स्रोत है, वहाँ कुछ न कुछ आयोजन अवश्य करें।
Mr. Modi said that this time a large number of devotees participated in the Char Dham Yatra. He added that in India, gods also embark on journeys. Mr. Modi said that on the 1st of July, the famous Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath is going to commence. He also wished a Happy New Year to all the people of Kutch in Gujarat. The Prime Minister also mentioned the Yatra of Pandharpur in Maharashtra. He said that Amarnath Yatra is also going to start from the 30th of June. Mr. Modi said that Sabarimala Yatra has the same importance in the south. He said many efforts are being made to increase the facilities for the devotees in their spiritual journeys. Lastly, Mr. Modi reminded everyone to continue to take precautions against COVID.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says from largest vaccination drive to use of drones in agriculture, India now moving towards an innovation-led future, addresses members of Indian community at Munich in Germany. In 90th edition of Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister Modi exhorts Indians to never forget the dreadful period of emergency, says people of the country defeat a dictatorial mindset through democratic means. Results declared for by-elections to 3 Lok Sabha and 7 Assembly constituencies, BJP rests Rampur and Azamgarh Lok Sabha seats in Uttar Pradesh, also backs 3 Assembly seats in Tripura. Prime Minister Modi terms BJP's win in Uttar Pradesh as historic, thanks Tripura for opposing faith in party's development agenda. Political turmoil in Maharashtra continues. Shiv Sena initiates legal proceedings against 16 rebel MLAs. Madhya Pradesh clinch first ever Ranji Trophy title with 6-wicket win against Mumbai in the finals in Bengaluru. And Indian cricket team captain Rohit Sharma tests positive for COVID-19 ahead of Birmingham Test match against England. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
क्या आप कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स की तैयारी कर रहे हैं? आपके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो लाया है प्रोग्राम अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जहां हमें आप प्रश्न भेजते हैं व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करते हैं abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे एक्सपर्ट देते हैं आपके प्रश्नों के उत्तर हर शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे। इस वर्ग का विषय है आधुनिक इतिहास यानी कि मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री और आपके सवाल प्राप्त करने की अंतिम तारीख 29 जून। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back. You are tuned to the evening news on All India Radio. The results of by-elections to the 3 parliamentary constituencies and 7 assembly seats were declared today. Voting for these seats spread over Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Tripura, Andhra Pradesh, Jharkhand and Delhi was held on Thursday. In Uttar Pradesh, the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party has won the by-election to both Rampur and Azamgarh Lok Sabha constituencies. BJP candidate Ghanshyam Singh Lodhi defeated Samajwadi Party candidate Muhammad Asim Raja by a margin of over 42,000 votes in Rampur seat, while the BJP candidate Dinesh Lal Yadav Nirhua won from Azamgarh parliamentary constituency by defeating Dharmendra Yadav of Samajwadi Party with a margin of more than 8,000 votes. Both the seats were considered as Samajwadi Party bastions. The by-polls were necessitated due to resignations of the Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav from Azamgarh constituency and party leader Azam Khan from Rampur seat. The two leaders quit as Lok Sabha MPs following their election to the Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly earlier this year. In Punjab, Shiromani Akali Dal Amritsar President Simranjeet Singh Mann has won the by-election to Sangrur Lok Sabha seat. He has defeated his nearest rival Gurmail Singh of Aam Aadmi Party by 5,822 votes. In Tripura, the BJP bagged 3 seats in assembly polls. Chief Minister Manik Saha has won from town Bardowali constituency, defeating his nearest rival Congress candidate Ashish Saha by a margin of 6,104 votes. Malina Devnath of BJP has won from Jubaraj Nagar seat, while the party's Swapna Das won from Surma Assembly constituency. Sudeep Roy Burman of the Congress has won from Agartala Assembly seat. In Jharkhand, Congress candidate Shilpi Neha Tirki has won the by-poll to Mandar Assembly seat, defeating BJP candidate Gangotri Kujur by a margin of over 23,000 votes. The by-election was necessitated after Mandar MLA Bandhu Tirki was convicted in a disproportionate assets case. In Andhra Pradesh, the YSR Congress candidate Mekapati Vikram Reddy has won by a huge margin of 82,888 votes in Atmakur seat. In Delhi, Durgesh Pathak of Aam Aadmi Party has won the Rajendra Nagar Assembly seat by a margin of 11,468 votes. Mr. Pathak received a total of 40,319 votes, while the BJP's Rajesh Bhatia got 28,851 votes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the by-poll wins in Azamgarh and Rampur are historic. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said it indicates wide-scale acceptance and support for the double-engine governments at the centre and in Uttar Pradesh. The Prime Minister said he is grateful to the people for their support. He also appreciated the efforts of BJP Karyakartas in Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Modi thanked the people of Tripura for reposing faith in BJP's development agenda and blessing the candidates, including Chief Minister Dr. Manik Saha, with wins in the by-polls. He said the BJP government will continue fulfilling people's aspirations. Mr. Modi lauded party Karyakartas in Tripura for their hard work. The Prime Minister expressed gratitude to all those who voted for the BJP in Andhra Pradesh, Jharkhand, Delhi and Punjab. He said the BJP will keep working among the people and keep raising issues of public welfare.
In Maharashtra, the political turmoil continued as the legal fight began between the Shiv Sena and its faction group led by Eknath Shinde. Shiv Sena counsel and senior advocate of the Supreme Court, Devdutt Kamath, while talking to reporters in Mumbai, said the Uddhav Thackeray-led party has initiated the proceedings against the 16 MLAs under Para 2(1)(a) of the 10th schedule, which governs disqualification on grounds of defection. Meanwhile, NCP chief Sharad Pawar today said that the rebel MLAs will have a change of heart once they return to Mumbai from Guwahati. He said NCP wants to continue its alliance in the Maha Vikas Aghadi. Speaking to reporters in Delhi, he said steps will be taken to bring back the MLAs. Taking aggressive stance against the dissidents, Sena leader Aditya Thackeray said that the MLAs should resign and face elections. He said that Shiv Sena will ensure that none of these MLAs win the polls. He exuded confidence that Sena will win the floor test. On the other hand, the Union Ministry of Home Affairs has provided Y plus CRPF security cover to 15 MLAs from the Eknath Shinde faction. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
On a day when Uday Samant, a sitting minister in the Mahavikas Aghadi government, left for Guwahati via Surat to join the Eknath Shinde camp, the Uddhav Thackeray-led party has started taking legal opinions to disqualify the MLAs who have been served notices. The Shiv Sena is consulting Supreme Court lawyer Devdutt Kamath to go forward with the legal proceedings against the dissidents, explaining the grounds on which the MLAs may face disqualification under Para 2(1)(a) of the 10th schedule. Advocate Kamath said if a person voluntarily gives up the membership of the party, he is liable for disqualification. He said a legislator's action outside the house, if he commits anti-party activity on that basis too, he may be disqualified. Meanwhile, Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshari has directed the state DGP Rajneesh Seth that adequate police security be provided to 38 MLAs from Shiv Sena, 2 from Prahar Janashakti and 7 independent MLAs. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
President Ramnath Kovind will visit Vrindavan in Uttar Pradesh tomorrow. He will meet and interact with the inmates of Krishna Kutir there. Over 197 crore 8 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. More than 11,000 new COVID cases were recorded in the last 24 hours, with around 11,000 patients recovering during the same period. The recovery rate stands at 98.58%. 25 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours.
International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illegal Trafficking is being observed today. Speaking on the occasion, Home Minister Amit Shah said the Narendra Modi government has zero-tolerance policy against drugs. Mr. Shah congratulated the NCB personnel, NGOs and their associated volunteers for their efforts in fulfilling Prime Minister's resolve of a drug-free India. He said the problems of drugs is a major threat to national security. Mr. Shah stated that Home Ministry has coordinated and institutionalized this fight against drugs. He, however, emphasized that for the complete eradication of drugs, public participation is necessary. He asked people to contribute in fulfilling the resolve of Mr. Modi's drug-free India. Madhya Pradesh has clinched their first ever Ranji Trophy title after defeating Mumbai by 6 wickets in the finals at M. Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru today. Madhya Pradesh chased down the target of 108 in the second innings for the fall of 4 wickets to lift the coveted trophy for the first time in their history. The Aditya Srivastav-led Madhya Pradesh took just 29.5 overs to achieve the target. Earlier in the day, with Madhya Pradesh enjoying a 162-run first innings lead, Mumbai needed an outright win. However, with the ball, Kumar Kartikeya picked up 4 wickets as Madhya Pradesh bowled Mumbai out for 269 in the first session of day 5. Final scores: Madhya Pradesh 536 and 108 for 4, Mumbai 374 and 269.
Indian cricket team captain Rohit Sharma has tested positive for COVID-19 just days before the start of the rearranged test match against England that will begin from the 1st of July. In an official release, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, informed that Rohit Sharma has tested positive for COVID-19 following a rapid antigen test conducted yesterday. He is currently in isolation at the team hotel and is under the care of the BCCI medical team. Rohit Sharma was part of the team that is taking on Leicestershire in a 4-day tour game ahead of the decisive test match against England at the Edgbaston in Birmingham. Rohit batted in the first innings on Thursday but didn't come out to bat in India's second innings yesterday. Last year, Virat Kohli-led India had taken a 2-1 lead against England, but the fifth and final test had to be cancelled due to a COVID outbreak in the Indian camp. The BCCI and England and Wales Cricket Board (ECB) decided to rearrange the remaining test match this year. If Rohit recovers in time for the match in Edgbaston, then it would be his first test match as captain of the Indian team away from home. He had earlier captained India to a 2-0 home test series win over Sri Lanka this year. In archery, the Indian women's recurve team of Deepika Kumari, Ankita Bhagat and Simranjeet Kaur settled for a silver medal after the trio's fairy tale run was halted by Chinese Taipei in a one-sided final at the World Cup Stage 3 in Paris today. India concluded their campaign with 1 gold and 2 silver medals, 2 of them coming in the compound section. The women's recurve team failed to make much of an impact in the final and lost to Chinese Taipei 5-1 in straight sets. Nevertheless, it was a memorable return for world number 3 Deepika, who returned with the team's silver after being sidelined following her Tokyo Olympics debacle.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is expected to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder, lightning. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Srinagar is expected to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. Jammu, Muzaffarabad, Leh and Gilgit are likely to have mainly clear sky. Hyderabad, Visakhapatnam, Bengaluru and Thiruvananthapuram will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In the northeast, Guwahati, Imphal and Aizawl will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder, lightning. And Shillong, Itanagar and Gangtok will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says from largest vaccination drive to use of drones in agriculture, India now moving towards an innovation-led future, addresses members of Indian community at Munich in Germany. In 90th edition of Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister Modi exhorts Indians to never forget the dreadful period of emergency, says people of the country defeated dictatorial mindset through democratic means. Results declared for by-elections to 3 Lok Sabha and 7 Assembly constituencies. BJP rests Rampur and Azamgarh Lok Sabha seats in Uttar Pradesh, also bags 3 Assembly seats in Tripura. Prime Minister Modi terms BJP's win in Uttar Pradesh as historic, thanks Tripura for reposing faith in party's development agenda. Political turmoil in Maharashtra continues. Shiv Sena initiates legal proceedings against 16 rebel MLAs. Madhya Pradesh clinch first ever Ranji Trophy title with 6-wicket win against Mumbai in the finals in Bengaluru. And Indian cricket team captain Rohit Sharma tests positive for COVID-19 ahead of Birmingham Test match against England. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.